Hello, everyone. We're going to start with our land acknowledgement. As always, we acknowledge, honor, and respect that much of the land we are gathered on is part of traditional unceded territories of many different Indigenous peoples of Canada. Welcome to another episode of Veg Networking Canada, where vegan plant-based companies connect and collaborate. We have a special guest today with a mission to promote a plant-based lifestyle through one handmade pastry at a time for all to enjoy. Starting in a family kitchen, then growing to farmers markets, and now a brick and mortar staple in the YYC community. With a background as a food industry operations manager, she is focused on ethical food safety, food production, and good manufacturing practices. She is passionate about supporting women, immigrant, and locally owned operated businesses. Bringing a taste of Mexican flavor to her recipes and products, Veg Networking Canada is pleased to welcome owner and founder of CANELA. Welcome, Veronica Amaya.
Hi everyone. Nice to meet you.
We're so happy to have you here. We're going to jump right into our first question, which is, can you tell us a little bit more about your own personal vegan plant-based origin story?
Everything started back in 2013. I had quite a few health issues, and beginning of the year, I watched some documentaries, not necessarily plant-based, but more into the healthy lifestyle. Then I started to notice in decreasing the consumption of red meat, it will improve my health. I started with that, and then I gave away chicken, and in 2 months, because I was still eating some fish and dairy and eggs, and 2 months, it took me 2 months to become a full vegan after watching some other documentaries about animal farming. And so that's what I said, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore. And obviously my health improved 100%. So all the issues I had went away. And I am also helping the world to be a better place. And since then, no going back.
Wow, so 2013, and really only a couple months for you to really make that transition. So that's, you know, what we would kind of say is like an overnight transition, which from the conversations we've had here is actually quite a rarity. It takes a little bit of time for people to transition, but you did it quite quickly in 2 months. So next question is about entrepreneurship and your entrepreneurial origin story. Did that begin at CANELA, or did it happen prior? Tell us about that.
That was prior to CANELA. I'm from Mexico, and back in Mexico, I owned a bakery. It wasn't a vegan bakery, it was just a regular bakery with my sister. And but I got married, I had to give up the bakery and started to work with my father-in-law company business in a way that was kind of part of a family business, which I had to take care of too. Then I moved to Canada, and we opened because my father-in-law had a big chain of tire shops. So we opened a tire shop in Canada when we first came in. That was a big mistake because we didn't know the culture, we didn't know the business world in Canada is way different. And then I started looking for a job, which I started to be at the Chocolaterie Bernard Callebaut when it was owned by Bernard Callebaut. Then I learned a lot of in the food industry, production, manufacturing. I was the operations manager. Then everything happened with Bernard with the receivership. So I decided to open my own chocolate shop. It wasn't vegan still. And that's when I started. That was back in 2013, actually, December 2013. It lasted around 5 years, and then that's when I started. I was vegan at the time, and that's when I started to see, okay, I need to create something vegan, vegan business. And the lack of bakeries, and every time that I went to a coffee shop, there was no option for me. So I was like kind of frustrated and say, how comes that nobody's doing anything? And that's when CANELA was born. And I wanted to spread the word about vegan pastries. They don't need to taste like cardboard. They have, I mean, we have an amazing products and all kind of products at CANELA that you don't even realize are vegan. So that was my mission. And now we do wholesale and we distribute our products to coffee shops. So now vegans they don't have to suffer what I suffer at that time. No finding a pastry for me, an option to go with my coffee. So
that's a
yeah,
really,
so,
that's a really powerful entrepreneur's origin story that is quite a common thread, whereby somebody notices that they can't find or get something for themselves, so they just go, hey, why not just create it and make it myself? Yes. Which is exactly what you did, which is admirable and amazing, and especially in the vegan world. So thank you. Canela is Spanish for cinnamon?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Mm-hmm. So now I'm just thinking about cinnamon buns.
That's how it started. It started with cinnamon rolls only. And I had to relate the cinnamon, obviously, with, and then cinnamon in Spanish. This is the canela. So there we go. Yeah.
So in the vegan bakery world, because that's the industry that you're in, what, if any, are some trends that you're noticing?
Well, if what I've seen in Calgary, at least, it's there's the businesses, the vegan businesses are increasing, the vegan offerings are increasing, the demand for vegan products are increasing. So that is, for me, that's a big step. I've seen a lot of businesses, the vegan businesses, they need more support. And I think the way it goes very deep, because the way to do it is we want the non-vegan community to be more involved, engaged, and interested into, or have the curiosity to try that or lifestyle, to try the plant-based, to try the vegan. It goes deep, obviously, because we want more vegans in the world. We want more plant-based. And I've seen it's growing in Calgary for sure. I'm sure it's growing in Vancouver as well, and in Toronto, of course, it is bigger than Calgary and Vancouver, I will say. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and so it sounds like what you're picking up on is a trend of more plant-curious folks, people who are not vegan, plant-based. They don't put that label on themselves, but they are interested in what is out there that is vegan, plant-based. They're curious about it. They're trying it more. And to your point earlier, if you can make a product that nobody can tell the difference, then to your point, that's the way to really create a shift, which is incredible. So, and you touched on our next question a little bit, which is how you're starting to wholesale. So maybe tell us more about that, and as well, if there's any other answers you have to this question, which is, where is your brand, CANELA, going in the future?
I think it's going, I see it in the near future, going to Edmonton, and not that very near future going to other provinces. Coming from the food industry, coming from a big chain of chocolate wholesale distribution, I have the skills to make it happen, to find people that would like to go into a partnership with CANELA and find and open a new bakery in Vancouver, to opening a bakery in Edmonton, in Toronto. That's how I see CANELA.
Beautiful. And just as a follow-up to that, and it's okay if you don't know if you don't know, but are you thinking of just keeping everything under CANELA, or maybe going into franchising?
Of course, franchising. However, I don't believe into franchising, because franchising is you have to pay royalties. I'm more inclined into a dealership, which is you don't pay the royalties, but you do sell the products that you are buying from. Yeah, it's kind of it goes against what I'm up to and what I believe. Charging for like royalties, it doesn't go well with me. So I prefer people to make money, of course. And the most important thing is to spread out veganism, and so it's more affordable for people. And if I go into franchising, people will have to charge more so they can pay the royalties. If they go into a dealership, that's different. They don't have to increase the price for the as a retail price. And that's the thing, because veganism doesn't have to be more expensive. And that's what I'm seeing. Like, just because it's vegan, it's more expensive. Just because it's vegan and gluten-free, it is more expensive. I want to end up that, because we are in big competition with the non-vegan bakeries. And if we want people to try it, they're going to prefer the other cinnamon bun that has eggs and dairy, instead the one that is vegan. So yeah, and that's my philosophy, and that's why I created CANELA. I honestly don't need to work, but I don't personally, I don't have to, but for me, it is important to spread the word about veganism. And that's why I'm more inclined to do dealerships instead of franchises.
Awesome. That makes sense. Yeah. And you mentioned that you don't, personally, probably financially have to work, but maybe from a personal, philosophical, spiritual reason, you feel like you have to spread that message and everything. And that's sort of what you're doing, which is incredible. Okay. No right or wrong answers. Maybe there's something in the works, maybe not. Maybe you are currently doing something. But the next question is, does CANELA support any charities?
We do support Alice Sanctuary. I don't know if you have heard about them. They are here in Calgary, and we are a big supporter of that sanctuary. They've been rescuing so many animals lately. Obviously, they incur into more expenses, and we every time that we can, we support them. We do all the bottles that we have at the coffee area, and the bottles that we use to make the products. They go into Skip the Depot. That's a company, and all those proceeds go directly into the Alice Sanctuary. They do events. They are doing fundraising events, and we donate all the baked goods. So that's what we do. So we do on rescue other animals. Forgive me, I don't remember the name, but they do rescue like dogs, cats, more like domestic animals. And we do donate like a basket for fundraising. We donate in a sporadic basis, but more to the Alice Sanctuary most of the time.
Lovely. Yeah. I mean, supporting animals clearly in line with your vision about veganism and the message that you're trying to spread. So that makes total sense. There's lots of alignment there. You mentioned Skip the Depot, I think, and yeah, Alice Sanctuary, amazing. Okay, as a business owner, it can be in your industry or not. It can be something general like mindset or finances or whatever it might be, and there's no wrong answers. But there's three different ways that a lot of us are getting our information these days, which is a book, a podcast, or a mobile app. So do you have any books, podcasts, or apps that you would recommend people check out?
I don't have the time to read any books for now or podcast. I try, but I just don't have the time. As a entrepreneur, you have to be. I create all my recipes, so I have to support the bakers. I have to supervise the recipes are to up to the standards. I have to supervise the coffee area and the service area. So it's a lot for me right now. But I have watched all the movies that you can find anywhere in Amazon Prime or in Netflix, all those kind of movies. I watch them all. I'm considering myself an earthling. So it's, but no, to answer that in the short answer, I don't read any books at this moment.
Not a problem at all. And because you're so busy and so productive, taking care of what you're taking care of, we're so happy to have your time again. So thank you again for that. Are there any companies, again, it can be local, it can be ones you work with or don't work with, it might even be a global mega corporation, that's fine too. With all that said, are there any companies who inspire you and CANELA?
I truly admire people who is right now running vegan businesses. I do had a market friends, and that we used to do markets together, farmers markets. So there's one that is called Veg Farmer. She started selling donuts, vegan donuts. Now she's selling vegan meats. She expanded that. I mean, she can make anything. We actually use her ham, her chorizo, and bacon in our baking goods. She's really thriving, and I really admire her that she's going so far because it's not easy, right? It's selling vegan meats. It can be challenging. Some of them will not taste that great, but she is really doing a great job, and I truly admire that. Another person that I truly admire, he's not vegan, but I worked for him for 8 years. It's Bernard Callebaut. He is the most humble person I have known, and he truly inspired me into what I'm doing now. He was always very kind with their dealership family he had, with his staff, with all the dealers, the staff, and he always was grounded, very humble person. So I really admire him. Yes.
Perfect, perfect. And the first business that you mentioned, Vegan Hammer, like hammer?
Veg Hammer, but like a hammer, yes.
Okay, okay, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
her name is Jill. Her name is Jill.
Awesome.
But her company name is Veg Hammer.
Veg Hammer. And now I'm not only craving cinnamon buns, but I'm also now craving your savory pastries that apparently you make, which sound incredible. All right, we are at our final 8 of 8 sort of conversation starter or question, which is always prefaced by this is not the time to be humble. And there is no right or wrong answer. And that is for business owners and entrepreneurs, whether they're just starting, whether they're in the middle, or whether they're maybe thinking of selling or expanding. What is some advice that you would impart on them?
That's a really good question. I will say don't give up, keep going. It's gonna be very rough. It's not sometimes, and most of the times, not going to be what you expected. But find ways, find advice, find other like people from other vegan businesses that can support you on your journey. I will say that you're not alone, and find help. It's very tough. It's not easy. It takes a lot of your time, family time, and sometimes you're gonna find yourself crying and why I am into this, why I even do this. But there's always a purpose, and keep focusing in your vision. What is what you want? Why you created this? Don't get out of the way of that path, because it's very easy to just say I can't do it anymore. That's it. But keep going. It is, and it's very important to have your support from your family or your friends or your partner. It's really important to have that support. Otherwise, you can do it alone.
Beautiful. So what I'm hearing is your advice is keep the end in mind and don't assume that your path to the end is going to look anything like you thought it would at the beginning. And along that path, make sure you have people who are genuinely going to support you. And what I also picked up on was, it sounds like you have, it could be a whole nother, 30 minutes that we could chat about. But it sounds like you're almost giving the advice of maybe changing your perspective on failure or the tough times and actually embracing that, which I've heard before. So fail first, fail often. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of fear. Just lean into it, because it's, to your point, it's part of the process to the ultimate vision that we're trying to get to. So excellent.
Yeah. I mean, we all gonna fail, but we have to learn from those failures and keep going and find another way to do it. It's a failure doesn't mean that you are done. A failure means that you learn from it and keep moving forward. Yeah.
Well,
there's always ways.
You heard it here, folks. If you run into a challenge or an obstacle, you can go through, over, around, or under, but there are plenty of ways to get through that challenge and that obstacle. So thank you so much, Veronica, for your time today. We'll let you get back to you and your team and what you do best. And for those listening, if you want to find out more, and like I talked about, if you want to drool, make sure you head over to Instagram at CANELA YYC. That is CANELA, just one L, CANELA YYC. And the same is true on the web, www.canelayc.ca. Thank you so much for your time today, Veronica.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Bye now.